Hello, my name is Alicia, and I'm going to be talking about Reflection Assignment 9, which goes over creativity and problem solving. And there were two videos to watch. The first one is talking about creativity and how you can trick your mind into being creative. And the first thing that I thought about was how nowadays people kind of struggle with opening up their mind and not being so fixated on following the rules. And whenever it comes to creating things, it can be a little hard because having original thoughts is close to impossible. We borrow and share ideas all the time, and it can be a bit of a challenge trying to conjure up something that's of your own free will. But I mean, can you say that you have your own thoughts and own ideas when we do the the switching and the sharing and the looking for inspiration all the time? So there are also a lot of different strategies people will use in order to solve a problem, and that comes from having the knowledge of experiences from the past that aid you in understanding what's worked in the past might work for your current problem. And there was there was a way of understanding your creativity through four steps that are describing how thought kind of happens. So you have your preparation, your incubation, your illumination, and then your verification. And let me explain what all of those mean. Preparation is basically when you have all the data and you're getting all of the information you need in order to in order to start the process. But you don't really make a lot of progress when you do it. You're just kind of starting it out, warming up, making sure that you have everything you need in order to make the progress. And then with incubation, you've got the problem solver setting the problem aside and not working on it. It's not like you're ignoring or you're avoiding, but it's more so allowing your brain to have a second to relax and not focus so much on it and do other things, but your mind is still thinking about it, even though you don't remember or maybe you don't have your attention on it. Your brain is still working to, understand what's going on and what to do. In other words, your brain is unconsciously working on the problem. What follows incubation is illumination. And illumination is when your brain kind of lights up and is like, wow, idea. And I think because it comes after incubation, that incubation period where your brain isn't really focused on that new idea or the problem, it's, still getting more information from other resources and other observations that you do, like you see in your day to day, and it's helping you to work it through like a puzzle in your brain, and that's how new ideas come. Which is why I feel that there is no original thought, because you're constantly sharing and receiving information and other input that can kind of mix in with your thoughts, and well, then it's no longer an original thought, but a thought that was worked on with other perspectives. So moving on, the final one is verification. And verification is just kind of putting a stamp of approval on the idea that came in the illumination stage and leading you towards the solution to your problem. But it can also be wrong. The solution and the idea that comes in can also be wrong. And it's not to say that wrong ideas are bad ideas, because just as everything is, it's a journey to finding the solution. And although it's not the one that's going to help complete and finish your solution, or finish your problem, it'll take you one step closer to finding out what will. So all is not lost. And with that being said, you can also have a solution from your illumination period, and it will fix whatever problem that you're trying to figure out. So that is what your thoughts kind of experience as creativity blossoms and is, mixing and helping you figure out your day-to-day problems. This has everything to do with cognitive psychology, as everybody encounters a situation that needs thought or needs to be figured out, and a problem has a negative connotation but isn't always negative. And so, with having problems every day and needing to figure them out, your brain is constantly working 24/7 to figure it out and move on to the next problem that you're going to inevitably find yourself in. And it can be small. It can be just like figuring out where your pencil is, or like where you last placed your keys. And then you go back in time or into your brain and think about it. Remember that you typically leave your keys on your desk, or you leave it in your kitchen, and you go searching in these places because you kind of remember this, and maybe forget about where you left your keys, and remember that you need to put your shoes on because you're going to be driving to work soon. And then you remember, oh right, I remember yesterday I had set them on the counter as I was getting back from my last desk shift. It can be anything, small problems. And although it isn't creative, your brain still kind of recognizes that it's important to have those stages, even though it may not be realized that it's going through stages. It's inevitably going to, have that first, okay, preparation. I need my keys, and then incubation. I have to figure out something else. I have to remember and think of other things as I'm simultaneously needing my keys. And then, oh, right, the illumination. And you remember and have an idea of where they are. And then verification, searching for it and figuring if the solution works, putting it into work, and the details that come with that. So, everybody does this every day, and it's important to always have that mindset of you needing to really use your context clues that are around you, because they can help with taking you further, one step closer to finding the answer that you need. And the final video is talking about how you don't have to be an expert to solve big problems. And I'd like to say I agree, because you will encounter big problems, you'll encounter small problems, and what's most important to remember when you have these problems of various sizes is to know that although you may not have all of the expertise in an area that your problem may have a low designation in, you can figure out what you are good at and can utilize your skills for this particular situation. And let me give you an example. So say, for example, someone is on a bus with you. You're riding the bus, and this person starts having a panic attack, and you are a lawyer. So I guess a typical solution for someone who isn't a lawyer but is a therapist could help this person having the attack by talking with them and trying to come to a solution because this person having a panic attack is possibly causing a scene, and giving some other people that are surrounding you and the person having the attack with a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of unease. And so as a lawyer, you are not maybe familiar with the process of talking people through um, panic attacks, but you also might be, because as a lawyer, you'll have to go into a courtroom and explain a case and help whoever you're defending um, make it past the court case. So, in a situation like this, with being on a bus and having a person next to you have a panic attack, you could talk with them about what it is that they're going through, asking questions and finding a solution this way. And so, yes, you may not have the emotional aspects that would typically be useful in someone who could be a therapist or could be a mental health specialist. However, you do have resources within yourself and from the training that's needed for lawyers to help bring down the intense emotions and feelings being expressed. And so, um, you know, it's almost like that functional fixedness. Like you are a person known for one thing, but you don't have to always be this perfect shape and only do this. You can have a little flexibility and can participate in other means and be great at other skills despite your title being something different. And free expression. So that's kind of the idea here. And from what I'm gathering, anybody can take the skills that they've gained over their time with the career choices or through training or within a school system and academic institution to be useful in ways that may not have come across to you when you were starting out or when you were first thinking about what you could do in whatever you're wanting to do. So, problem solving is something that I think everybody wants to be, the best they can at. And, the better you are at problem solving, the more easier your life can be because you're not stuck trying to understand what's needed to figure it out. So, problem solving strategies, if you think about note taking, because a college student would need to take a lot of notes to pass exams, have information to look back on when they're writing papers. There's so many useful ways to use your notes that it's a common occurrence for people to always continue searching for newer, better, quicker, and more unique ways that help them personally achieve the goals that they have. So, two problem solving heuristics that I found were the hill climbing strategy, and I'll explain that in a second, along with the means end heuristic, the means end analysis. With hill climbing, people are doing the whatever it takes to get to the next step that leads them closer to their goal. So say you're driving and it's you have two choices, to go this direction or to go to the other direction, and you are kind of not sure what to do, but you notice that there are certain hints leading you to the top of the mountain. Let's say that's where that person wants to go. You're going to most likely, if you're using hill climbing, to go in the direction that you see takes you closer to the mountaintop. and not the one that doesn't take you to the mountaintop. And it may take you closer to your goal, but you are just wanting to do the step or take the step that guides you closer to your goal. And that is what hill climbing is. Hill climbing is taking all the efforts given in a choice situation and going with it, whatever takes you closer, what carries you closer to your goal. For the means end strategy, you're basically comparing what your current situation is to to the goal situation that you wish to have. So comparing them and figuring out what's different and what you could do to make them as close together as possible. So say for example you're hungry. You're so hungry, you haven't eaten all day. All you had was a breakfast burrito, and it's 8 o'clock, and you are starving. And your goal is to have a pizza, to eat some pepperoni and some sausage on a pizza. But right now, you don't have any pizza. You have nothing to eat. So, goal state is pizza, and then current state, no pizza. How can you get as close to having that slice of pizza in your current situation? And so now you start thinking about all the ways you can get it, what you'll need in order to feel full, to achieve a belly, a big stomach. And you could start with, okay, I know what kind of pizza I want. Maybe I need to take the phone and make a phone call to the pizza place. What pizza place am I going to order from? And then you start looking and then find the place that you want. And then the next step would be to make a call. And then person on the phone's like, we can do that for you, but do you want to pick it up or do you want us to deliver? You're not feeling like spending that extra cash, so you'll go and pick it up. You say pick up, and they're like, awesome sauce, come here in 15 minutes. You live maybe 20 minutes away. So now you have to think, okay, how much time do I need in order to get there on time to get my pizza? And do I pay there or do I pay now? How can they get your money if you don't have, if you can't give it to them, right? So you have to bring your wallet and then figure out the cost and then wait your time and go ahead and make it to the pizza place. So just thinking of all of those different steps needed in order to get to your goal is that means end analysis, which people use all the time. And people use the hill climbing strategy all the time as well. And these are not the only ones, but when it comes to easy thinking and when it comes to making that next move and getting you closer to your goal, people will typically use these. And there's also this this idea that there are novices that are okay with problem solving, and then there are people who are experts who know exactly what needs to be done because they've experienced it enough times to know that this is what helped in the previous time and this is going to help me now because they're so similar in situations. So to give you a little bit more insight on experts and novices, I'll tell you more. Experts are more better at heavily cross-referencing information. Like if it works for one situation, it'll work for another situation. You just have to figure out what details match and then experiment and try it out, verifying. And their experts are more inclined to have a routine set in place because, as mentioned earlier, they're better at putting in place what they've experienced already and will just follow suit. And if it's not broken, their routine, then no need to fix it because it's already in alignment and habitually done. So it's useful for many of the tasks that they implement into their daily routine. And for novices, they may not have experienced these types of problems as much as experts have. And what may make it not so similar for the two, for novices and for experts, is that you don't connect it as quick, and analogies are pretty important when it comes to figuring out a problem, and experts are known to utilize analogies, always think of what is needed in order to connect, in order to make sense of a problem. And analogies are like stories or different situations that can apply, and all you'll need to do is figure out which parts of the problem are similar to the story's problem, and just utilize those components to work for you in the way that you need it to. And that's why in chess you'll notice that expert chess players are quick when it comes to moving their pieces, and taking less time to understand what will happen next, and they're thinking 3, 4, 5 steps ahead. And it doesn't take too long because they already have pathways in their brain, because they do it so often, and practice problem solving to not have to take so much time. And so as students, I guess we're also in that novice stage of understanding what's needed in order to come to a solution within our daily lives with our assignments that we'll do all the time. If they're papers and it's an every week thing, you can utilize what you know to write the paper early, using your notes, coming to class, understanding the lecture material, talking with the professor when you're not understanding something. These are steps to get to your goal. And also just like taking your notes and reading your textbook if there's an assigned textbook, watching videos, or even teaming up with other classmates. Different strategies and different problems may cause for different types of strategy and problem solving, and so it's always good to be flexible with what life throws at you. And I think that I'm done, so thank you.